Welcome to our final Fitness Industries Roundtable of the semester. We are talking about recovery methods, and we've asked Dr. Howard to be here because that was part of her dissertation. But before she shares any data with us, I thought it would be interesting for us to go around the table, share the types of exercise we do and recovery methods, if any, that we know about or have tried or etc. So who would like to start? Yes. Dr. Huberty.
Oh my gosh. I said that I don't know anything about this. My recovery methods are I sleep. I don't know. I don't do anything special to recover.
But what do you do for exercise?
Group cycle, Pilates, body pump, and then I run my little running challenge thing that I'm doing right now. So, and whatever. Yeah, a little of everything.
Okay.
I don't want to get bored. Yeah.
And sleep is your go-to.
Sleep.
Recovery.
Yeah. As long as I sleep, I never really get sore.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. Okay. I can go next. My name is Jen. I bicycle as a commuting opportunity, but also for fun, and then teach some group fitness classes. I would say mostly sleep. I'm certainly pay attention to my hydration and getting electrolytes back in, especially based on temperatures. And I do some foam rolling and then also some both active and static stretching afterwards for kind of acute recovery, but long-term recovery, haven't found a strategy that necessarily I've adopted yet.
I'm Maria, so I usually bike and run, jogging more. And I think the thing that benefits me more is like icing, especially after running, because I don't know, like my lateral part of my legs just are extremely sore when I wake up. So that has been helping, and hydration. Long-term stuff, nothing that I thought about.
Our virtual crew.
Hi, I'm Ryan. No, I strength train. I run Peloton. I run and jog. A little bit of yoga. In terms of recovery, do kind of dynamic and static stretching, foam rolling. I like the sleep idea, Lana. Trying to get as much of that as possible. When kids or dogs don't wake me up. And I'd love to do some of the cold recovery, but I'm too much of a wimp right now. I did that back in college. It was great. But that was a long time ago.
Are you talking ice baths?
The ice baths, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's trendy. Yeah.
I'm Joe. I am more into like the team sports types of activities. So basketball, hockey, then some weightlifting, biking in there. Recovery wise, I do like protein shakes afterwards. Especially if I'm doing weightlifting, trying to bulk up as much as possible and covering the muscles that are damaged. My wife is nice enough to sometimes give me a massage if like my shoulders are really hurting or whatever. Or if I've been jumping so much out of the gym and just dunking, get the leg massage, that's pretty cool. But yeah, otherwise I would do like ice baths and things of that nature, but it's really just sleep, stretching, foam rolling, massage, water. That's pretty much it.
Oh, I guess it's my turn probably. Hey, my name is Matt, and I don't run as much as I used to. I still run a few times a week, but not very lengthy. I also, in January, started taking advantage of a free month membership at Alchemy, it's kind of like CrossFit, more or less. There's several of them around the Twin Cities. It's the first time I've tried group fitness classes, and it is good bang for the buck, and so I've enjoyed it. Some of my methods for recovery, I was much more of a serious athlete than I am these days, but one of the tricks I think is just to knowing your limits, especially as I get older, and less shape, not because I'm older, but just less shape because I don't engage in activities very often. So knowing your limits, knowing my limits, learning my recovery profile is also important. I recover from running much more differently than I do from alchemy, and I recover from slow runs, obviously different than fast speed work. So kind of learning my recovery profile. I think Denise will probably speak to that with her dissertation work. Practicing recovery nutrition, so hitting that glycogen window as I can, and just not, obviously sleep as well, and trying to manage my life stressors as well. Your body's only capable of handling so much, and anytime you have skyrocketing stress levels, that's just going to rob energy from your performance and recovery. So those are some of my techniques.
Matt, is your one free month up?
Yeah, so it's up, and I'm still going strong here.
Oh,
That was
good.
up in
Okay.
January. Still going strong.
I'm glad, Matt, that you're doing it, but not like paying for it and not doing it. That's how they get you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm
The
glad
norm.
that he kept
That's
it.
the norm.
Yeah. They created these it's created by a military person, and they took combined like barbell and dumbbells, and they created what they call a torpedo, which can basically be used for everything. And I've enjoyed it. Anyway.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Guys, thanks.
And I'm Denise Howard, and my main form of exercise is running. I'm an ultra runner, so I run a lot.
Did you sign up for the 300?
No,
You.
There's a new 300
yet.
miler ultra out there. They just opened on Saturday?
that's not unusual now. Hundreds used to be unusual. Now
Right.
they're not. Now they're more norm. Now
So
so
she-
she go bigger.
So she didn't sign up for that yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So running is my main form. I do bike. I'm a group fitness instructor as well, and I'm currently suffering from DOMS from strength training. So I'm trying to prioritize strength training over running. Like if I skip a workout, I can skip running, but I can't skip strength training because I'm at that age where it's extra important, especially with the high training. So, and for my recovery, my main form is sleeping all day, no, all the time. Nutrition, post-exercise nutrition, and movement. I think like foam rolling and then movement on top of that are the main thing. My main go-tos. So.
And so the themes that I heard from us is we have physical recovery methods, right? So sleep, hydration, nutritional recovery methods, and then kind of maybe like auxiliary or accessory methods where the foam rolling, the massage, the percussive therapy, ice baths and stuff like that. So Denise took a look at all of those different types of kind of categories of recovery as well in ultra runners, and we'd love to hear what you found for your research.
So for my dissertation, I did recovery perceptions and techniques of ultra runners. As an ultra runner working with other ultra runners, you see that people have a plan going into like their training plan. They're dialed in. They know what they're going to do. They talk about how to get through ultra running. What's their plan mentally and physically to get through that? And then they don't have a plan for recovery after. So there's a little bit of a gap on what are we supposed to do. So my research is more from the extreme endurance perspective of recovery, but a lot of it applies to just regular athletic recovery. So I surveyed ultra runners. I did a mixed methods and surveyed them to see what they currently do for recovery. Why do they do what they do, and what do they think works and doesn't work? And then what does the science say based on it? And all in all, and just listening to you all share with what you do and the research through ultra runners, we're pretty in tune with our body. We know what our body wants, what our body needs, and we tend to listen to that. So the research kind of supports that as well. The number one recovery technique for ultra runners was sleep.
Oh,
Today.
right.
Hear that a lot. So, and that applies to athletes and anybody, right? If we're pushing our bodies are going to need that time for recovery. And one of the interesting things about sleep recovery is 7 to 9 hours is suggested. And if you can't get that at night, and specifically with college students, right, maybe a bit challenging to get that. You're sleeping in a dorm, you're staying up late studying. So naps during the day is okay, and that does count towards the hours. Your sleep is in 90-minute cycles, right? So we've got stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, and most of the recovery comes in stage 3 and 4, your deep sleep and your REM sleep. So we get through the first 2 stages pretty quickly, and then the core recovery is in the back part of that, the 2/3 of that 90 minutes. So if you wake up in the middle of it, you miss the recovery component and your sleep cycle starts over.
So power naps are a myth then. For
take a
recovery.
90-minute nap.
Right. So a 90-minute nap is interesting.
Because when I was reading the research, it was like, well, I thought we were only supposed to have 20-minute naps, or it's going to
Right.
interfere. But again, this is more at the athletic population,
Right.
not the sedentary
Recovery.
population. So for those who are truly active and pushing their bodies, that if you're going to take a nap, a 90-minute nap might actually be more beneficial because you get a complete cycle. So here in the College of Kinesiology, we're going to have 90-minute nap time.
All right, get those on the schedule.
Yeah, schedule meetings. It's going to be quiet time in here.
Dim the lights and roll out the mats. Okay.
So y'all mentioned sleep, and you're right on par with that. Sleep is important, and with that comes the sleep hygiene. Like, what are you doing leading into sleep? If we're on our phones, our iPads, whatever that technology is, that decreases our chance of getting the full sleep cycle, multiple full sleep cycles at night. What's your environment? It should be cooler, it should be dark, it should be quiet, or white noise to drown out some of the other stuff. And it should be consistent, which is hard for a lot of people.
Right.
Again, at college students, it's challenging to have that set bedtime and that set wake time. But consistency with sleep hygiene and your schedule is important for that. So sleep is a big one. Hydration was the second most used one, which I think makes sense. Athletes were kind of trained on the importance of hydration, and it was before, during, and after. And in terms of after, hydration throughout the hours after, not just pounding a gallon of water after the session, but consistency with electrolytes to help
Thirsty
absorb the water.
topics.
So pause, everybody take a sip.
So I see our schedule: 90-minute naps and pauses for water breaks. Got it.
And that results in bathroom breaks too, right?
Okay. We're not going to work anymore. Work around these things.
Active recovery was the next most frequently used one. And I think we've experienced that too. If you're tired and you're sore, when you get your body up and moving, it actually feels better. The science doesn't say it improves recovery or speeds up recovery, but at least for that moment, we get the blood flowing, the oxygen, your body feels better for a little bit. So movement's good, but it doesn't necessarily decrease your time of recovery. So the popular ones were sleep, hydration, active recovery, post-race nutrition, which is what a lot of us have mentioned. In terms of the ultra running research too, it also, convenience is a factor. Like Brian, you talked about wanting to do cold water, but you're too much of a wimp. And the science says you should ease into it. You shouldn't just start taking cold water baths, right? Get used to a little bit colder before you jump in. For ultra runners, there's science behind cold water immersion, that it does support post recovery. There's benefits to it, but it's a convenience thing. Do we have access to that? Most of us don't. So it was actually one of the lowest ones.
What about like
used.
a cold shower then?
Cold shower helps.
So that's, I mean, that's something I would guess most ultra runners do. You get done running and you just.
But I think in terms of cold shower and ice baths, like
It's
completely
different.
Totally,
for
for sure,
your
the
body,
benefits
right?
of that.
I've
Yeah.
tried to go into like a very cold. I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
My legs were
Yeah,
numb.
it hurts.
Nope.
And the
good.
temperature matters.
Yeah.
For science, the 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit seems to be the ideal. If you go colder than 50, it doesn't help you. So temperature does
Really?
matter. So just dumping a bunch of ice in, and you got to figure out what the temperature is there. And cold water immersion is trendy right now.
Yeah, it is.
And with that is contrast therapy too, going back and forth between the hot and colds. And the research is kind of mixed on that. It's better than not doing anything. And stretching. Stretching actually doesn't improve your recovery. It might make you feel better for a little bit, but it doesn't decrease the duration of your recovery. So it's better than doing nothing, or that it's not harmful to the body, but there aren't a lot of recovery benefits so far that have been shown by doing that. So if you enjoy contrast therapy and you feel better after it, because there's a psychological component to recovery as well. So if that makes you feel better psychologically, that's a win. I have a friend who has rheumatoid arthritis and she swears by it. When she has an inflammation, she uses contrast therapy and she's much better with it. But that also leads into one of the somewhat surprising things we found is the psychological component of recovery. I did look into that with ultra runners. And again, with the psychology, runners have a plan for their training. They have a plan to get through the race mentally, but there's no thought about psychological recovery after the race. And what I found in the research is it takes about 9 days physiologically to recover from an ultra marathon, but it takes 2 weeks to recover psychologically. So I think we put a lot of thought into physically how to recover, but we forgot maybe an even more important component is the psychological component. And I noticed that after ultra marathons on day 2, crabby, down, depressed, like my mental health took a tank on day 2, which got me thinking about maybe we should study that. And consistently the comments were, I feel great for the first few days and then I tank for a couple days and then I have the post-race blues.
And that's for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks to recover psychologically. Now, again, this is extreme endurance. This isn't just a competition or something like that, but something big for your body that takes a mental hit is going to take some time to recover from that as well. How often do we think about thinking?
Right.
So when you're thinking about recovery from whatever your activity is, think about the physical component of it, but also the psychological component. And are you doing anything to help that? One of the techniques that was a middle used technique was massage. And the research is saying that massage does in fact help with recovery. It can reduce recovery, but maybe even more importantly, there's a psychological component of massage. How do you feel after that?
Oh yeah.
You feel great, right? So maybe that's a really good recovery technique after you've done something hard, both mentally and physically. Hit the massage because it can benefit your physical recovery as well as your psychological recovery. Even something like 10 or 20 minutes massage. And you can think of foam rolling as a massage too. So after a big intense workout, physical intense workout, hitting the foam roller for 10 minutes has been shown to be beneficial.
Ryan mentioned foam roller. Ryan, how do you know how to use the foam roller? Did you go through a training or did you have a trainer or?
I know things. No, no, I just kind of learned, I think it's videos, textbook,
Okay.
Just trying to, especially just hitting certain parts, I think I'm not a very flexible man, so anything I can do to help, and I know it kind of have to sit in the discomfort a little bit, and so that's been beneficial to try to open up.
So do you have to know how to use the foam roller, or is that just like moving around?
I think your body just kind of guides you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
once you do it, once you
we're
do
into,
it, do you
yeah,
have foam roller?
I used to, but I'm just like, I never looked at videos. I just
Just playing around with it.
use
Yeah.
it. And it helps. It really helps, especially like next to the knees.
Oh, your
Yeah.
quads, yeah. It's tight.
Yes, I know. I was looking more a lot at the IT band on that whole, down the side of the legs. That's a. I don't know how to hijack this, but it was interesting. I was at the Gopher practice on Saturday, and post practice, they stretch by position, but every player has a foam roller.
Oh.
And they foam roll at the end of practice. So that was pretty cool.
All right, put that on the list.
It's a relatively inexpensive and very
Right,
affordable
right,
recovery
pretty
technique.
convenient.
Yeah.
And it works,
right?
yeah.
Right.
My first introduction to the foam roller was after a marathon when I had IT band syndrome and couldn't walk, and in physical therapy. And this was several decades ago, and they introduced me to it and it made me cry. Don't bring out the foam roller. But I mean, it's been around for several decades, and I think there's a reason why it's still here. It was more of a physical therapy thing several decades ago, and now it's a acceptable recovery technique. It's in many of our living rooms.
It's in my living room. Actually, it's under the couch. That's
Except in
hilarious.
multiple
Yeah.
rooms, right?
Uh-huh. Well, fascinating stuff for your ultra runners. Thank you for sharing. I was hoping if people we're interested, I would just anecdotally love to know what people have tried and it worked. I don't want to call them like life hacks, but we may try something and think like, I'm not going to tell this to anybody else because it maybe wouldn't work. But I think it would just be interesting to know like, we named the generic things that we do, but is there a certain, like if you're talking about nutrition or certain types of stretches or whatever, like what have you found that really works for you? Maybe there's no scientific evidence behind it, but I'd love to know if there's specifics that people do. Like I can start, for instance, with, I am very regimented, and I know there's mixed research on this as well, about having a certain combination of proteins and carbohydrates within 30 minutes of, and there's research like, oh, you can have it later in the day or 30 to 60 or 60 to 90, but like, I'm just like kind of anal about like, I'm going to have yogurt, berries, and English muffin. Like I purposefully do that. And what does that help me or not? I don't know. Maybe psychologically it does.
Yeah.
But that has been something that I've been really
It's like your
committed
ritual.
to. It's my ritual.
And the leucine content, there's a lot of research on
Yes,
that.
yeah, with
specifically
leucine, with
French
the-
take
yeah,
French amino
yeah.
acid leucine.
Yes,
Leucine.
yep, it's
Protein-
amino acid,
one of the
yeah.
protein synthesis.
So that's a hack for me
Amazing.
that seems to work. Greek yogurt, frozen fruit, and then
And that
yogurt,
helps you not
I
be so sore.
or just feel like I've got my next boost of energy for the rest of the day because I'm a morning runner. So I kind of swear by that.
It's
So.
workout and breakfast.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, with that, like when I run or bike, like I've heard eat a protein 45 minutes maximum. So I usually bike in the afternoon or run in the afternoon. So finish that dinner. Like I'll shower later. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
not missing that
yes,
45
yeah.
minute.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, but that's something I try to focus on. And in terms of eating, just try to eat more protein. Like I eat vegetables, but not much. And I think that's okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it helps with anything eating vegetables, to be honest.
Is it not, doesn't fill you up?
No,
I mean, it's not.
it fills me up. It's like there's no protein in it, is it?
No, I like the
There's
crunchy.
fiber.
There's yeah, there's
Yeah.
fiber. Yeah.
Like I would
There's
rather
protein
eat.
in vegetables.
I try
all
to eat
that's
fruits
protein.
every day. That
Yeah.
helps, but vegetables.
You've got a lot of life left. You'll come around.
I don't know what I would eat if I didn't eat vegetables.
One of the things I've been playing around with is tart cherry juice, which
Mm,
I
oh, yeah.
researched to support that says it works. So when I did my 100-mile race, I consumed tart cherry juice throughout, and I was going to do it after as well, but my friend took it home with her, so I couldn't. But then I use it after running too. I think there is some research that if you do it too close to a quality workout, that it might interfere. But
Okay.
in terms of recovery and how you feel throughout the day, so I've included more tart cherry juice in
Okay.
And do you notice a difference, or it's just?
Well, something worked for my recovery because I physically recovered in 2 days after doing the 100-mile race. But
When was your last 100-mile race?
October 2022.
Yeah. Okay.
Whether it was the tart cherry juice or the billion other things I tried, I don't know. But
Yeah.
Did you try pickle juice?
I did not. But I do like pickles during the race, but I don't think I had
Hmm.
any pickles during the race.
What do they say like pickle juice helps with? Because I've heard
Yeah,
Muscle
sodium.
soreness.
Yeah, and your sodium, potassium. Because we lose sodium when we're exercising.
yeah.
So.
I think in the dining hall they used to have a big jar. And because we have a lot of athletes on campus, so you could actually, instead of having like a whatever drink, you could fill a glass of the pickle juice. I don't know if they still do that, but they had that for years in there. Yeah.
At one point, they used to have them on like the sidelines at college football games. Like guys would just be pounding pickle juice.
I mean, maybe diluted, like that's.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
Pickles during a race are fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
and it
station
gives you something to chew on,
runners
right?
live
Like,
for the
yeah.
pickle.
I feel like there's, especially with college athletes or younger people, is when you're starting to, you want to do I'm going to buy this product or do this supplement. And when you ask someone who's been around for a while, what can I do? And they say pickle juice or chocolate milk, or you know what I mean? Young people are like, no, I want something real. Like I want something that has science, like a supplement or something. And they
Something
don't
that
realize-
costs money. It has
Right.
sport added to it.
They don't appreciate the like there's, I mean, drink water.
Right.
Like someone said to me the other day, what is the one thing I can do? I'm like, are you drinking water? No. Like, well, you're doing 3 cycle classes a day. You should drink water.
Yeah.
You should. I said, just make that your goal. So sometimes it's those little
It's too
things.
simple.
Right.
too
Right.
simple.
Right. Feels like
About
a complex.
complex.
Protein. Like I don't like taking protein powders. I'd
No.
rather do it from eating stuff or
course.
like fruits and whatever. Of course. Like that supplement that the whey protein that
Yeah.
my brother has. I'm like, don't do that.
Walking around with your big shaker.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a place that we could have a huge business just putting the word sport in front of
Oh
just
my God.
random things like pickles. These are sport pickles.
Horse pickles.
Or like sports cherry juice. You know, like
Joe, years ago, I worked at a club that sold different drinks, right? And everybody was buying these drinks, and the label said, drink 16 ounces of water before, then drink half of this drink, and then work out. And then, it's empty. And then it was like drink whatever, 16 more ounces of water and the rest of this drink after your workout. And people are like, this stuff really works. And I'm like, is it the 32 ounces of water? Is it the workout in the middle? Or is it this $5 drink? But it was brilliant because people would follow that label and it would get them to drink water, work out and drink water. And it was great. Right. So Joe, you're right. There's a gimmick out there.
Yeah. I'd like to ask Denise, because I know you're a morning runner as well. Do you think about planning your supper meal or your meal the night before with the intention of, I want to wake up and feel like have some of that 12-hour, energy later?
When I'm on, yeah, but
Okay. And what does that look like?
when I'm in the middle of training,
Yeah.
then I put a little more in
effort into
the more that,
having a quality.
and
supper.
not just the spaghetti,
Yeah.
the high-
Fettuccine
Alfredo, yeah. It's more like sweet potato with black beans
Yeah,
and guacamole
totally.
or something,
Okay.
like a healthy meal that has the protein in it too.
Mhm.
One of the numerous studies I read was the importance of protein. And runners who consumed higher protein intake, they did, I think, like 20 grams 5 times throughout the day before a marathon and after the marathon. The ones with the protein recovered better. So we are, as runners, we think about carbohydrates and we got carb and carb. And now there's a lot of research saying that protein and carbohydrates during the run as well, not just simple carbs.
And do you have a goal of having protein throughout the day? You said like, do you have a little bit in breakfast, a little bit in lunch, a little bit in dinner?
What I've also read is consistency throughout as well. We talked about that window of opportunity. I think the research now is showing that that's not as important. As long as you are consistently eating protein throughout the day and you meet your daily protein intake, you're probably okay. But a routine that you have where that's your thing, that's an assurance for you that you're getting it. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's if you're not eating protein, nothing, and then you're just doing that after the workout to make sure you need to have it consistently throughout the day too.
And how hard of a workout do you need to do to really need to have the protein to replenish? I mean, is a walk around the block for 30 minutes and now I need a protein shake? Or is it because I've heard people, I mean, there's kind of this misconception of, well, yeah, I got up and I did whatever.
I hit the gym.
So now
I
I'm
did like 2 sets of
right.
bicep curls.
So what do you
Sorry, I'm being
exhausted.
judgy. Yeah.
what do you find in your research? Is there a certain
Threshold
workout that you would want to actually push yourself to the point where you need to replenish the protein?
I didn't see anything specific in the research on the duration of the activity.
Right.
Or intensity?
Intensity would probably be more, right?
I think so.
To,
Like you can go walk for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And you don't need to replenish your protein after that?
hour
You're
yoga
burning
class.
your
Not much.
Would you
Like-
replenish after an hour of yoga?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Yeah. 'Cause
I think of the guy who would come to my yoga class at Lifetime and then go to the cafe and walk out with the 600 calorie smoothie after. And he wasn't the most fit.
but he had a routine.
He had a routine and he's getting some vegetables in there and some protein and
Right, for sure.
he's happy.
But sometimes I think in terms of having those food, like types of food, like that shake from Starbucks, like it has all the sugar, like fake ingredients in it, I think that I'm trying to eat real food now. I think that is definitely helping me with like energy and all that.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
like with
You feel better because it's food.
yeah,
not
like I haven't
calories.
had cereal in almost a year now.
Yeah.
And you're
See-
college, you haven't had cereal?
What do you eat? I'm just kidding.
Not vegetables, not cereal.
Even
Yeah.
like it's not a routine, but I find myself eating eggs a lot in the morning.
Oh yeah,
I think for me that's my source of protein.
Mm-hmm.
that's good. Yeah,
I phased out cereal too. It
all
just-
kinds of cereal. What
yeah.
about like the?
I mean, I
gluten-free
was
cereals?
doing like frosted mini wheats.
Oh.
I mean, a lot of fiber.
Frosted mini wheats are great.
I agree with you, Joe. And sometimes I still want them. I like crave them, but I would still feel that sugar. It would not sustain me for breakfast. And then by 10 o'clock, I'd be like, I'm hungry again. But I'm the same egg, avocado, English muffin, or yogurt with the fruit. And
Egg, avocado, and toast.
Yeah.
One of my go-to meals before I run is grape nuts and goji berries. Because it's easy. There's substance to it.
Yeah.
So when is your next run? Like, are you thinking you'll start training again and do another ultra, or
Yeah.
are you doing some shorter runs? Or, I mean, after doing all this research, does it make you think maybe the ultra is not the right healthy option and maybe you should be doing like marathons instead?
I was worried about that. If I did the research on it, is it going to ruin it for me? I'm not
Right.
going to want to do it anymore. And it's actually it's no worse than sitting on the couch, right?
Yeah.
So yes, it's hard on the body, but how you approach the training. That was another thing on the recovery. Training is number one.
Yeah.
Going into it with proper training, that's going to determine your recovery. So if you're training properly, your body adapts to it, then it's not so hard. I hear people, it's so hard on your joints and it's hard on your cardiovascular system. And there's research out there, but it wasn't anything that would stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it depends on the training and how you treat your body outside of the running. And are you recovering properly in between it? Or are you just every month you're hitting it hard and not allowing your body to recover? And the keyword recovery. How can
So
recovery?
So for you, after doing the research, it is okay to do the 100. It's okay to do the ultra, but you do all the prep, the hard work up front, and then you also do hard work and prep afterwards. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So I was
And
supposed to do an ultra in a week and a half, and my training fell apart. Life blew up and my training fell apart, and I had a mental breakdown. And the little voice that, if you're not trained properly, don't go do it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, I could probably still pull it off. That's not going to help you recover properly.
Mhm.
So
You're like, I did the research for a reason.
you are
This is
not
my own
trained
reason.
properly. And at your age, you should not do that. So I backed off from that one and have to find work to do and train properly.
Any other comments or thoughts that people are interested in adding? I know Maria's here with an athletic training emphasis. So how do you see this playing into either athletes with injuries or hopefully avoiding injuries, but
I think because
team dynamics? How do you see that with
right now
through
in class,
athletically? Yeah. What are you learning in class?
we
Yeah.
are looking at one like injury or something. I'm doing cubital tunnel syndrome,
Mhm.
and we're going to look into how it happens, recovery types, and right now for next week we need to look into recovery types in terms of like maybe cold therapy and all that. So I think looking into those and listening to my other classmates, it helps me know what's better. Like Ted, for example, he likes doing what's it called? Dry needling. And like other athletic trainers would rather do something else.
Mhm.
So it just makes me like in the future focus on what I see is better for the athletes, but also like focus on like myths or
Of course.
facts and all that.
Yes, that's
Because there's a lot of methods in terms of recovery or even trying to prevent injuries. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like research, but I know I need to
it's interesting.
look
Mhm.
into that because either with the grad school, like
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of
There's a lot
research.
of research.
Yeah.
And you legitimize the field when you can
Yeah.
speak about other, it's like, I'm not just making this up anecdotally, like there's data that was collected that shows differences.
And I also think it's important that you don't buy into a myth that you implement with a client and it's harmful,
Mhm.
right? Because you heard someone trying this and they swear it works. It could mentally be helping them, but someone else could actually be hurt by doing it.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
yeah.
One of the other things that I noticed in the research, and particularly because the ultra runners are older, because we get to that point, and a common go-to was ibuprofen.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about pharmacological.
And we older runners, that's what we've just done forever. So that's what we're just going to keep on doing. And the research is a hard no on it doesn't help, and it actually may make recovery worse.
Is
So
it because you don't feel the pain at the moment? So that it wears off?
actually there's more inflammation.
More information.
Oh,
By
really?
taking it, and it's also hard on the kidneys because it's a vasoconstrictor to your kidneys, so they can't filter like they're supposed to. So
Yeah.
it doesn't. There's no place for it in something like ultra running.
Even with not relating to sports, like my mom tells me, like she that day slept late. She was tired the whole day. She tells me, okay, take ibuprofen before you sleep. I won't. She takes it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'll just sleep. Because what's in that medication? There's a lot of stuff that like,
Does your body really need it? No.
yeah, I don't think so.
We can do pickle juice and tart cherry juice.
And foam rolling and sleep and water. Yay.
And then give me a massage.
And there is something to be said about the inflammatory response being there for a reason. Like
Protective,
it's
right?
helping you to recover. So if you're trying to inhibit that, you're
Good point.
like Denise said, you're just gonna make it take longer overall to recover.
There's good inflammation and then excessive inflammation, right?
Have you ever been done a run where they run really hard and then in Minnesota when the water temperature is 50 to 59, you jump in the lake?
We gotta check the temperature first. Oh no,
Well,
can't
because you
go
said
ahead.
50 to 59, I'm like, that would probably be right now, maybe what the
Maybe.
lakes are at.
Maybe.
Do they ever do that? I mean, that's just like a great option for us here in
Like I
Minnesota.
heard my cousin, like they would go skiing, and then by the end they'll just go in a lake or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
I don't
just-
know. I never tried it. I don't think I would ever try it.
Yep,
Cutting a
50,
hole in the
59.
ice.
Like,
yeah,
there's
but
people-
no,
yeah.
because that's too cold.
That would be
Oh,
too
yeah, that
cold.
would
So
be
we don't
cold.
ever have to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, we could start something. Hmm.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Very interesting and opportunities for us all to think about our personal fitness, but then also as research keeps evolving, as we discover more and more things, how we can learn about how this might apply to our professional careers too.